shout out to Mr. James Brown, all the way in Playa Vista. He is a Daniel Challenge alumni, 21 days in, amazing results. So James, how you doing? Thank you for being here.
Doing great. Getting a lot of sleep these days, I'll tell you that much.
It was a 21-day challenge. James here, who had an amazing testimony. He was the only person that did lab work. And I was just so, you know me, I love me some lab work. So I would just love to get some details on your experience.
So I've been healthy all my life, basically. And then I put on weight and I just stayed on, and I just got complacent with the weight that I'm at. You know, I was getting my acting roles with this weight, being the tough guy and whatever, and never really, you know, thought about diabetes or any health issues. Yeah, I just got a checkup and whatever, and found out that I had diabetes because I had the weight, put on the weight, and high blood pressure. When I came back from vacation, because my daughter and I go home every Christmas, so when we came back in January and went back to church, and I had met you and found out about the Daniel Challenge. And I said, wow, this is God talking to me. Because I said, when I get back, I'm going to go strict plant-based and see how that works. And then literally, we probably got back on a Thursday, and I met you that Sunday. And I was like, this is perfect. And I got your literature, looked into it, read about it, and jumped in after you guys. And it was great. I mean, I thought it was going to be challenging. I told my daughter, I said, be prepared if daddy starts grumbling and grumbling, you know, because I'm changing my diet strictly. And I didn't grumble or anything. Like to me, what I did was all the salads I was eating, I kind of doubled, I guess, what everybody else was doing, just to keep me, like, I stuck with it almost perfectly. I didn't do the beets. No, not the beets, the radishes. That radish dinner, I didn't do that.
That fish is so good, I'm telling you.
I'll try it. I got to try it. But I looked at it as, wow, I'm going to be hungry. And I didn't, you know, like I would take literally big bowls of salad with the dressings that you had. And I'd pick and choose the dressings, and then, you know, stuck by all the meals and whatever, you know. I think I told you before, I've never thought of putting peanut butter or almond butter on fruit and walnuts. And I was like, wow, you know, this is great, you know. And what I would do is I would probably eat double the fruit, you know, because JD always told me, he said, the good thing about going plant-based is you can eat as much as you want, you know, the brown rice, the vegetables and all that, until you get full. And so that's what I did with your Daniel Challenge. And the meals are great. That spaghetti squash, never even heard of it. And it's a cool thing. And it filled me up. Like, there's so many nights that I would make the dinners that you had for us. And I'd go into it thinking, oh gosh, this is not going to be enough. And then I get halfway through it and I'm like, wow, this is too much. If I had spaghetti squash left over, I'd eat it for lunch the next day. At the first 10 days, I went strict. I followed everything you had, you know. And then when I talked to you and you said, no, you could switch it up. You know, if you like this dinner that we had on Tuesday night and you don't like Friday night's dinner, have Tuesday nights, make it Tuesday night's dinner again, you know. And that's what I did. And like I told you, I lost 10 pounds in 10 days. I think my blood pressure before I started was like around 175 over 89. And after the 10 days, it was the 9th day, I went and got my labs done. And my blood pressure was, I think it was 128 over 40 or something like that. I know my blood sugar was 128 after I ate.
Oh.
But yeah, all my vitals went down, and I was, you know, I walked out of that doctor's office kicking my feet in the air, you know, and then I felt so much energy, you know. It was just like, I was literally, well, that was back when we had school, but I was literally up at 5 o'clock and going to the gym here, going to do what I do during the day, whatever was filming or voiceovers or whatever. And then at night, I wasn't even tired. Like I would literally lay there in the bed staring at the ceiling like, wow, all right, am I going to fall asleep? Because I had so much energy. Then I read the book of Daniel like you told me to do. And I mean, it was great. It's just the whole thing is just great. And that's why when I talked to you, gosh, last time, I don't even remember when I talked to you last. I know it was after the pandemic. I said I'm going to do it again. It's a cleansing, is what it is. And it's a fasting, but it's a good fasting. It's not like the fasting where I'm not eating anything and just drinking water and starving and smelling people's hamburgers or whatever, or barbecue that they're making and getting frustrated. It wasn't that.
All right, I want to unpack some of this amazing story that you've shared with us. Like, first of all, the whole divine connection, the way God brought us together, it was obvious. It was so obvious. You had this thought of wanting to make a shift for your health, for your family. And then days later, or I don't know, a day later or something like that, we crossed paths. And not only am I hosting this Daniel Challenge at our church, you're a diehard Eagles fan. I'm a diehard Eagles fan. But another layer on top of that, you're best friends with JD Roth and Chrissy Roth, who are the couple behind The Biggest Loser. And they were the TV show that inspired me to get into this whole Daniel Challenge scenario. Like, they cast me on their TV show and they put me on a whole food plant-based diet. They didn't position it as Daniel Plan, but it's essentially the same thing. I figured it out. God led me down this path. And it was just like triple layers of just like, yeah, God, we need to connect. And it's been amazing. And I just loved your testimony, like everything that happened, some of the specifics, because you did post it in our little Facebook group. So I pulled up some of the screenshots. I'm going to get more of the specific details for everyone here watching because they didn't get to see our Facebook feed. So in 4 days, you had lost 6 pounds. Like, you were posting pictures of you on the scale, like, I'm 6 pounds down in 4 days. And then you mentioned the 10 pounds in 10 days. And on day 8, you had gone to the doctor. And let me see, I think you did post so it wasn't even 10 days in, and your lab work took an amazing shift. It was 175/89 to prior. And then after 8 days, it was 124/80. So that was your blood pressure.
And I think 128 was the RBS.
Mm-hmm. So was that the post-meal blood glucose response, or was
that?
Fasting?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That was because I had breakfast that morning, then went to the doctor's.
What was it normally? Do you remember what your number was prior to challenge?
I know it wasn't that low. The blood sugar, it wasn't that low. Mm-hmm. It was higher. I don't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, I know it was just amazing to see the change in just 8 days. I was actually inspired by Graham, when you were telling me about him talking, because I talked to him that first day that I met you both. Mm-hmm. And he was telling me that, he got rid of his diabetes by doing that. And I was like, bam, hello, what?
And I do want to clarify that. So it was type 2 diabetes, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And what was the timeline for that? Like, was it this year that you had gotten diagnosed, or years ago?
No, it was last year. That's when I went to the doctor. So I'm sure it's been a while, mm-hmm. Because I've been overweight for a while, but I had never gone to the doctors to have anything like that checked, because to me I looked at diabetes like you inherit it, or whatever. I never looked at it as a fat person's fat person's disease. And it doesn't run in my family. So I never thought anything about it. And then when the doctor told me, I was like, ooh, okay, well, let's do something about that. Mm-hmm. And so I was taking medicine for a while. And then, then the Daniel Challenge came along, and I realized, that you can get rid of it by just eating healthy. And then you got me into watching Game Changers on Netflix, because now I'm into all this plant-based stuff, forks over knives and this and that and everything. So when I read up on it, I found out all the different ways that you can get diabetes, and it doesn't have to run in your family. And I diagnosed myself as eating unhealthy. It wasn't a shock. It was more of a responsibility thing, because I knew that I could reverse it. I knew what I needed to do to reverse it. It wasn't something that's not going to go away or no, that can't be reversed. I told myself it's up to me.
Yeah.
I'm the one that has to change it.
Yeah. So it was a wake-up call. And then by the grace of God, he already placed everything in your path. And so what did it mean to you to be able to learn this right away, so recently after your diagnosis, that you have the power to manipulate your blood work in whichever direction you want? Like, what did that mean to you?
When I walked out of there after day 8 and I had all those numbers, I was like I said, I was on top of the world. I was like, wow, only 8 days and I've changed this much. And I go, what's it going to be like in 8 months?
Yep.
Or 8 weeks or something.
The other thing that I forgot to kind of touch on that you mentioned earlier was that the portion size. And on this plant-based diet, when you are fully disciplined, you can just eat until you're satisfied, and all that fiber, all that food just, sorts itself out properly in your system, and your stomach can only contain so much. What was it like working with me? Give people a glimpse of what it was like just learning how to do the Daniel eating according to, how I did it for y'all.
It was actually very good. It was great, especially being able to go out and, try new stuff like the apple cider vinegar dressing. I was like, making this all up. And the good part about it is that I knew everything there. The dressings were healthy and good for me. All the meals were good for me. And it gets you in a mindset, a positive mindset, because I know I'm eating healthy. I know what I'm eating. And, it was great. And, like you see each and every day, the energy change, your mindset changes. It was great knowing that I can eat something and I know it's good for me, and it was good.
So yeah, I just love the way you've taken this and ran with it, gotten creative with it. Like, that's what we're here to do, to give people that basic guideline, and then you make it your own. Why should someone take action with this type of challenge? Like, what would you say to them?
The first thing I would say is it works. I proved that in 8 days. 8 days, it was literally 8 days of fruits, vegetables, and water, which being a meat eater, I would have never thought I would do that, especially 8 days in a row. And I said, I was excited going up to those 8 days because I said, let me see if this healthy way of eating is going to change my health. And it did. And I was sold, so anybody out there with type 2 diabetes or whatever, do it. It's, you can do it. And I'm proof right here, Graham's proof. You can reverse your diabetes. You can lower your blood pressure, and you're eating good. And plus it costs less, veggies don't cost that much, and it's not all salads. While you're doing this and you're seeing yourself change, and you're eating healthy, you're just going to keep doing it. I made a pact that 10 days I'm going strict. I'm not cheating, because you wouldn't have known I cheated, but I know I cheated, and God knows I cheated. So why am I going to do it? I said I could do it, and I did it, and I loved it, and I'm still doing it.
Really took advantage of the group aspect. So what was it like having a community, a private Facebook group where everybody was kind of in it together, doing it in a godly sense?
No, it made it easier. The fact that, everybody was doing it, and we were in this little, and it was all our church people. And I said, I can't sit here and I can't lie to you, especially the people I go to church with. It was fun to take the pictures, post them, and then see everybody's response. I had different shirts picked out that were tighter before, and I could see as time was going on, they were getting looser. And I was like, yeah, I love this, And then I was putting on tank tops that I hadn't worn in, over a year, but it was how my stomach was going down, and it went down,
real quick. That's what I love. And you said it works. So before we, I could go all day sharing your stories. It's just so inspiring. But what would be your final, what was your one key takeaway that you want to make sure you highlight for people here before we close out?
It works. You can reverse your diabetes by eating healthy. And this isn't the old way of eating healthy where you're just like, putting the food in your mouth and you don't want to eat it, but it's good for you. This was good. The recipes you had, like I told you about the fruit with the walnuts, I was excited. Don't go into it with a negative mind. Don't go into it saying, oh gosh, I'm going to be eating vegetables for the next 10 days or 21 days. I'm going to be just eating fruits. Trust me, you'll like it. I mean, it was great. It was easy. You just have to prepare. Like I would prepare my dishes the night before. And I'm like, wow, I'm really doing this. And I'm not plant-based brother.
Oh, well, thank you. This was like, I don't know, like you guys were kind of like the first Daniel Challenge experience that I got to do as a group. And you're like, just meeting you and knowing the way God brought us together, like it really just made it special. And so I'm just so glad to be able to have you here. And now you're going to be motivating so many other people. And thank you, James, for taking the time just to share your amazing story.
You're welcome, sweetheart. And thank you. Good luck, everyone. Have fun.